Go do it live?
Not on the. We're not.
We're not ready.
We're not ready.
Oh, it's 10 seconds. Hey, welcome back to. Oh, you caught me and Bob off guard. Welcome back to.
Off guard. You just decided to go.
I just go live when it's 2. To Drawing Blood episode 22, 23, one of the 20s. I don't know. I think it's 23. Hey, Daniel! Oh, man, that was a record, Daniel. This is the inside look on what we're doing to animate our top-down adventure game called #Blood, where it follows the exploit. Riverhead Friday. We follow the exploits of Becky Brewster, pre-teenage vampire hunter, battling her way through monsters in school and all that entails. Thanks for the new people just joining us and old friends that come in every week. We couldn't do it without you guys.
I think our programmer Cody is joining us.
And Cody, maybe Andrew, maybe Tin Heart Interactive, and maybe Dong. I don't know. No one, never Dong. Is it too loud?
It's definitely echoing. All right, I guess we'll have to.
What am I weekly? Well, thank you, Core Patrol. I'm glad you enjoy our stuff. We're echoing a little bit. Cody's mentioning we have 2 mics set up.
Still bad, Cody?
So let us know. Let's see. I'm gonna show you what I did this week before we go into a little bit of sprite animation. We're demoing the game next Friday at Too Many Games. And we're putting in as much stuff as we can to the prior demo. Those of you who joined us on last Friday, too, at our animation festival and got to play the game, you'll get a new experience if you come this Friday. Still echoing?
He said I'm not much louder anyways. So.
Oh, okay.
Alright, unplug my mic.
You want to unplug
Just
the mic? Hold on, guys. Technical difficulties. What cord do I does he yank out? Sorry, guys. What do we got here? Talking Post was cool. Oh yeah, no, it was a lot of fun. We had a good time there. A lot of drinks being served, and got to see a lot of new people get to play Blood last Friday at Animation Anarchy. Those who got to play the game noticed there's going to be new stuff and the stuff coming up next Friday, and that's what we're sort of doing now. We're getting it plushed up. When Becky talks, we just had one talking animation. We added all these emotional. Not emotional, but new emotions for when she talks now. And that's what I set up earlier this week, and I'm going to show you how we set up those talking animations. So you go over to a character, hit the talk button, and then these will pop up with text and stuff. So this is what I'm going to show you now. So usually it was just this one, and all of them are 3 seconds. And I always loop them back and forth. So while you're reading, you can kind of skip through as fast as you can or as slow as you want. So that's her regular kind of neutral, natural pose. Then if she says something happy, I'm going to go in, show you that one. And you can see each layer here. I got the nose on one, the mouth on one, the eyes on one, and the torso on one for this one. But you'll notice they all kind of loop, so you can kind of continue this as long as you want. Alright, that's the happy one. We got this one I called like brooding or mad before she kind of loses it. So she's trying to keep her composure, but she's still pretty upset. So we got that one. Then I got one that's just straight angry. Oh, good. My wife. Sorry, got a text. I like this angry one. I like any time I get to add debris like spit or these little extraneous like red anger marks or anything like that. And this one's more like you see each time I go into it, it's whatever is quickest for me. So this was just quicker to do, not separate the mouth or the eyes or any of that stuff. Is it still echoing?
No.
Oh, it's good. We could turn on the music now too, I guess. But yeah, I just like getting those little details that you usually don't get in a lot of these games. But now that everyone's doing a lot more hand-drawn stuff, I suspect in the years to come, we're going to see more of this kind of stuff. Needs attention to detail. Okay, I got a scared one, which she'll be probably doing a lot in this game since, you know, she kind of discovers the school's infected by vampires. So we got some of that. Cool pose, cool stuff. Oh, thanks, guys. Okay, so this was one of my favorite ones, the sad. And I like that part. And you can see they had all loose back. Again, I like the debris and all that kind of stuff we can add. And I'll kind of frame by frame. So you see like how I got the arms to kind of look manic. I doubled them up here. Then I do like just a quick smear frame, then they kind of go manic from there. But it just adds those little things, and I'm not afraid to kind of change the arms, like they're really thick here, and then they're thin, and then they're just 2 fingers here. So it's not something I really concern myself with in terms of anatomy. I just want it to look funny or whatever the emotion I'm going for. This one's kind of simple, just she's on the phone a lot with her friend Corey. So we got the simple one. And what I did about this one is I could swap out the mouth for this one too if we want like a happy phone, a sad phone and stuff. So I do kind of set this up thinking we're going to do a lot more emotions throughout the game. So that was what I started with this week. I think Cody's already implementing most of these in here. And we have our writer Greg who's going to be writing more stuff. So for more characters we talk to. Alright, so that was this week. Last week I'll show you what I finished with the characters. School Kids Classroom. So we were working on this teacher. Have him all finished. So we kind of set these guys up in pairs sometimes. So what I wanted him to do is kind of look at one of these characters back here and kind of be pleased with how she's kind of handling herself. So that's how I kind of wanted to handle this teacher. I added her. That's just a simple kind of cycle. Everything's always on the same chart, including the smoke, the arms, the legs, and vice versa. I still have to finish this character. I didn't finish her yet. Got him kind of agreeing with her. I got these two chatting too. Again, everything kind of cycles into each other. And it's not always 3 seconds. I try to make them longer, shorter, depending on what it is. Just so the longer you can scan across a room, the less repetitive it looks. Oh, hello, Lauren. How you doing? Thanks for joining us. Alright, so we got all that, and that's what I did last week. Still have to do that one character. We're getting that in the game, too. So what I'm working on today, actually, is Becky has to get some dog food into the bowl, and we're kind of setting up a different mission, or at least a different call to action when we get the dog bone and have to feed the dog in the very beginning of the demo. We were finding there was a lot of little issues people were having, not ever playing the game before. So what used to be we throw the dog bone into the bowl is now we're going to have her kind of go up to it and place it in, or she's still going to throw it in there. We're just going to make it a lot more clear so people get a sense of what they're doing. So what we have to do, when you're doing a top-down game like this, and we're doing it as traditional as we can, we have to assume people are going to go whatever direction they want to get to the dog bowl here. So we had to animate 5 different times. If Becky or the player like hits the button here, it has to get to this part from here, or here, or here. So we really got 3, maybe 4 if we're really nitpicky. So what has to happen is each time she hits the button, she has to end up here by frame 5. So when I do each direction, I'm going to have to keep that in mind when registering all this for Cody. So what I have her do is I'm going to do a giant antic because I want to ease out ease in rather, since we're going to want to start with a smear frame and just jump right into kind of the action here. So she's going to lift this dog bone up. I got this as a symbol here. So this is sort of, again, an homage to Zelda, probably. When everyone knows when Link lifts up a Triforce piece, he kind of goes straight on. So I'm going to have an animation of that. Still have to in between all that. Then I'm just going to have her throw it into the dog bone. I'm going to have to double click so you can see it. And when that happens, so we're going to have to do it there. So it'll kind of go like that. Oh, hey, sorry I'm late. Happy Father's Day, guys. Yeah, we hope to have one this Sunday. We'll see. We're so busy with all this stuff. But I think Bob and his kids and my kids, we all have some barbecues to go to, plus our dads. Hold on. Bob, do you want to just take over for a second? I just have to text my wife back real quick.
All right. I don't know what that's showing here.
Yeah, you can just show them like how I'm setting it up. If you want to double click on her. Sorry, guys, I just have to get to my wife real quick.
All right. Actually, I could open up some with the. Well, I open up what I was working on. I'll show some backgrounds real quick. Actually, it's a nice little treat. What was I working on? We were working on a library this week, actually. That will not be in the game for a while. Let's take a look. So here is all the elements I was working on. Kind of started laying out a room. Built a bunch of different bookshelves. Have books on it so we can duplicate it and maybe move some around later. Built a ladder. Built corner pieces. Alright. We ended up using some of the desk stuff. I think I used some stuff from the cafeteria. Like, what's nice now is I'm starting to find that I'm able to reuse stuff finally. Starting to hit some reuse stuff.
Yeah, those backgrounds she's right. Those backgrounds are looking good.
So, we'll see. And this is where maybe Miss Vernon will be hiding in the...
Yeah, we can have Miss Vernon in there. That'd be fun. No, I love these backgrounds. And you see how he sets these things up, so... And Andrew, one of our programmers now, is setting up a way for a tile system so we can easily replace all this stuff and level build now. So it's all really coming together. Oh, thanks. Yeah, I love all this stuff. I didn't get a chance to see this either.
That's
beautiful.
All done in the backgrounds are all done in Flash.
Yes, everything we're doing is in Flash in terms of artwork.
So we can keep it easy.
Worry
about otherwise.
No, but it's really cool because now we can start actually level building and stuff, and if something's not working, it's not just starting over from scratch. And like any project, yeah, I know if everything feels so overwhelming at first, and it's like we'll never get this finished. But then you start reusing stuff. Like we got so much Becky animation now and sprite work that we're really just kind of piecing stuff together now. Same with the backgrounds. It just everything gets a little more exponential in terms of artwork. Programming probably, that's a whole different beast. But like all these sprites, like that I had finished from the attack. This part right here, it's just sort of a recoil to get to the idol. So that I'm just reusing, and then we're off to the races, sort of like that. And that's why we sort of build this library system. It's a double pun with the library you just built up. I want to watch a stream, but Twitch is just not working for me. Oh, really? Is that our end? Or is it just... I hope no. Let us know if it's our end. We already had a few bumps in the road. Okay, so what I usually clean all these up at is the second to last brush, brush 400. Second to last brush, percentage 400. I'm just going to go in here and start cleaning that up. It's a real thick line, but when you see it at its true form in the game, it's so small that the line weight actually looks correct. Were any of you on this Twitch now at our festival last Friday?
Oh, I didn't get to meet a new challenger.
Oh, new challenger. I got to meet him. I was a few beers in the bag though, so I don't. Everything I talked about was just a little foggy. But it was good seeing such a nice turnout for just animation in general, but for everyone to get to play the game too. It was a lot of fun for us. Is Cody saying something?
No, just sending it the poster today.
Oh, okay. Yeah, Bob's working on a poster now for next Friday's festival, which is all about video games. So it's not just a film festival, but we really get to showcase this now for 3 days too. So I'm not putting the dog bone in her hand yet because I want to be able to use this animation or the sprite in other ways. So if I added the dog bone on this layer, we'd have a lot of trouble kind of matching it and stuff. And with these games, it's all about sort of the size. You're trying to keep everything. What festival was last week? It was called Animation Anarchy. It was in New York City. It was at the SVA Theater. We all graduated from SVA. Not Andrew, but most of the team did. And it was an animation festival, though we did showcase Blood because it has traditional animation in it. We actually showed our film Flexcalibur too. Oh, okay, that was New Challengers. Yeah, it was nice getting to talk to you, New Challenger. It was anytime we get to talk to other game developers, it's a lot of fun. Because Bob and I don't get that chance. We get the chance to talk to a lot of animators, but you know, this is sort of new turf for us. So she throws it so hard, so this is going to be the last pose before she lands there, so we're going to overshoot this one, and I'll do the overshoot now. So the force of it goes up, so she's going to reverse some stuff out. So she throws from there, so her face will actually extend forward a little bit. Let's give it a real color. And this is always a fun chance to be cartoony with this kind of stuff. Her hair will still follow through, so it'll overshoot the next one, but we kind of want to follow it. The arm will go up here. The legs will go up higher. Let's see how that looks. And like all Cartoon Logic, she'll be able to float in the air while we do this for a little bit. Gonna change that to blue so I can clean it up. Well, this is for Casey Snipes art. We're gonna also show Flex at not much blood stuff, but we will be showing more of our animation at what's it called? There's the
It's a rooftop.
It's the Rooftop Film Festival. That's actually the weekend we'll be at Too Many Games, so that's next week. And then I think the third week of September, Flex will be showing at what's that animation? The Animation Block Party, which is a pretty big animation event, and I would like to actually make it to that one. And barring any like stuff for the video game, I think Bob and I will be able to attend that one. And let's see what else. We'll always be at MagFest. That's in December, so that's a while away. And any other kind of video game festivals, you know, I always want to kind of keep pushing ourselves to go to those. It forces us to really think on our feet, and you know, this is always crunch time for us. I remember before we went to MagFest, we had pretty much 3 weeks to make a demo.
When you say MagFest, or you said MagFest is in January?
Oh, it's January? I thought it was late December. Okay. So yeah, till 2020.
Well, he needs the extra 3.
Cody needs all the time he could get. Cody's in the sticks, along with Andrew this week. But we'll get it done. So we're going to have our demo really tight and plushed out now. And we're also going to have, you know, we plan for next MagFest to have a lot more. I don't want a lot of repeat performances of just the same demo over and over. You know, it would be nice to get another level in there. So we're gonna shoot for a pretty big demo by next MagFest. Next MagFest. There we go. I separated the arm on this one too, so I can overshoot that a different way. Then we could just. So I can just start in betweening that. See what this looks like. We're gonna have to rough that one out. I don't know why I always start with the eyes when I start a new rough, or the skull shape. These sprite characters are all just like their head is more than half the body, so it's sort of like their torso in terms of the other, like if you were to animate traditional characters outside the game. And I've always liked big head, kind of cutesy characters. They can get really expressive. So we're gonna have the buns here kind of overshoot now, because that's follow through. But everything else kind of sits the same. Alright, the legs come down. I know a lot of animators like rough out their whole kind of thing and then do another rough pass. I like kind of just cleaning up as I go along. It just keeps me a little more sane, I find. And I can kind of just track where I am. Now if I was working at a different company or a bigger studio, say, I know a lot of people just do Ralphs and a lot of people just do character design. But when you run the small kind of ship like ours, we have to kind of do the stuff that makes the most sense on our end, and this just makes the most sense to me. A lot of animators disagree with me though, and I disagree with a lot of animators, so it's a mutual disagreement. All right. MagFest. No, that's what Cody. Yeah, we're gonna have to get Cody on one of these Twitches to show you how the other half approaches these. Like taking our animation and converting them into sprites and stuff. And I think Bob and I could learn a little something from that too. Before all this, Bob and I were playing with making one of our IPs, a game called Voltron, which is all pixel art. It was owned by someone else. Was it owned at the time, or were you just kind of going at it?
We were doing
Before,
it, and then they bought it. So
they bought it, yeah, so we stopped. We could have like re-skinned the whole thing, but I guess that's neither here nor there. Plus, I find that pixel art now is all over the place. I don't know if we would have stood out as anything special. All right, so we got that. I can in between the rest, but that's no fun for you guys, so we're going to do the secondary here. We'll color that. Yeah, we can do it this way because I'm the type that will start flipping it and hypnotizing something gets stuck. I need to rough all the way through and come back and clean up. No, I know a lot of people who do that. That's not that's more common than how say I approach it. I'm not. I've seen only a few people sort of do it the way. If Chet's here, he kind of did it the same way too, where we just have to get it sort of done on our own accord. So it was only because of, for sanity purposes for me. I couldn't just, I get a false sense of security when I see the roughs, because then the cleanup part can be super tedious and stuff, and then I find it's all wonky and stuff, so I kind of do that so I know where the lines are exactly. And what does Lauren say? As someone working a full-time job in animating in my precious little free time, I really appreciate your animation. Oh yeah. No, even when you work full-time, you always have to dedicate some time to your own projects. And, you know, eventually I would like to just work on Blood full-time. If it ever paid the bills, I know I would. So but it's just something, if you're just working 40 hours a week on something and you're not building on your own IP or your own animation, especially animators need all the time they can get. You know, it's something that keeps me driven to want to animate more and want to play with the characters more and all that stuff. And we've been working on Blood for probably over a year, and probably even longer, because when Bob and I first started with Blood, it was not, it didn't look anything really too much like this. It was more serious. It was we were going to pitch for a cartoon and stuff, and you know, just working on it for over this year and prior has made it just rejuvenated me to keep wanting to do this and keep wanting to build it. And now I have this whole story in my head. I have the intro I want to animate. I have all these things and ideas I want to do. I want to expand on this universe even further. So let's see here. She's going to throw. Now this is going to be an overshoot too. But I always recommend to animators, I think all artists, you need to just, there's going to be a lot of nights and weekends if you want to build on your own kind of stuff that you're going to have to dedicate to something. I think I can extend that a little further, actually. Especially if you're making a pitch book or you want your own show and stuff, it's not something you're going to get at the studio that you're working for or anything. You're going to have to do it sort of on your own. But there's freedom on your own terms too. It's not just all hard work. There's a creative freedom you get that you probably wouldn't get on working on someone else's IP. That's what I like about the indie scene or the film festival scene. It's always someone kind of putting in all the sweat equity with their own work, trying to improve. All right, let's just do that. Got this arm. Now what I might do here, since that's going to be an in-between too, is the first frame kind of have the arm go like this, so it really snaps to the other thing and it feels like the dog. Dog food's really going in there. We'll time it out here. Yeah, you see that kind of works. And I am doing this like it's a very cartoony kind of over-the-top move, but doing the subtle stuff like trying to get this dog food in a bowl in a video game context is kind of tough. We'll do the same thing with the attacks too. We'll have this broad motion, so it doesn't have to be so precise. The subtle stuff in animation is always the hard part, I find, anyway. Then we'll overshoot. Oh wait, did I miss something? It just sucks that it's so hard to earn money doing your own thing. Oh, we haven't earned a dime doing our own thing. So the hope is that eventually it does lead to something. But you know, it's not just a money thing. I find when you do your own film or something, that will sometimes indirectly make you some money because someone will see it then hire you based on what you can animate and stuff. So I don't think there's anything as just a free meal as far as just making something and then it gaining you nothing. Well, one, making a film, you gain a lot of experience and you're going to learn a lot about what you can and can't do, especially if you do it on your own. And then it does build up your portfolio, it builds up your experience, so you do get something out of it, though like the direct correlation of like how many drawings we did for Blood to the dollar amount we made from it is zero right now. Now, if we finish a game eventually and it sells well, then, you know, it's too early to tell if that's going to happen. But, you know, that's something we're kind of balancing the risk. And Bob and I took a giant risk making Flexcalibur. It pretty much a 7-minute pilot. We did it all at night, a lot of long hours. And, you know, now we're hoping to pitch it and hopefully that leads to something too. Whereas if we just spent, say, a weekend making the pitch book, you know, I think that lessens our chances of getting it made. Though it's still pretty slim, anything getting made even in when you do have it finished. But if you build an audience and you kind of keep up your own kind of, I hate using the word like your own brand, because you hear so many like influencers and all those kind of people saying it. But if you build up your own sort of like following, I think the doors start to open a little bit. So I try to look at it in that way, not just I'm doing this for free. But anyone who sees our bank account, it's like, yeah, you guys are doing this for free. And in fact, it's costing us money because we're off other jobs. We're renting hotels and traveling. We're buying equipment for it and stuff. But it's all in hopes that, you know, we can eventually make games full time as a studio. Alright, so let's get to this antic. I'm trying to think how we're going to line it up. So what I'm going to do, so this arm here, sorry, turns into that arm there. So this arm's going to keep coming back like that, while her head in the next frame is going to start kind of going up. So if you ever see a pitcher during baseball, you'll notice the body always leads before the shoulder. So that's what we're going to do here. So we're going to keep that arm going back a little bit while following the line of action. But we want it to explode here too, so we don't want the head like going at the halfway point here, because that'll just look a little too rubbery. Quote me, Dehydrate. Hey, I think I follow you on Insta. Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, thanks for following us there. You can find a lot of our blood work on Instagram or Facebook and stuff. We kind of double down with everything. Though we just sent out a tweet of that talking animation that's doing really good right now. One of my professors used to use a baseball pitch in his lessons. No, it's a good way to kind of, it's perfect follow through. If you slow down, what's great about YouTube is you can go now and look up a picture and then just frame by frame it. And you'll see what leads. It's like, it's not what you think it is because, you know, it's like a catapult really. Like the arm's the last thing to come through. The leg comes down first, the shoulder's way back, and if you stop it at the right time, it looks like the human body can't even do that.
And
can't. That's why most of
I can't. No, I can't pitch. I can't. That's why. But David Wells looked the way he did. That's a Yankees dig. If anyone doesn't know who that is, that'll please Cody. So we're gonna kind of follow up here. The hair is gonna start going back. The arm's gonna keep going this way. Oh, another subscriber. We haven't heard that in a while. Thanks for joining us, whoever just joined us. I don't know who did it. Well, oh, it's oh, very cool. Thanks for following us. So let's see, the cape's gonna go back. The cape can start going down. That's gonna keep going down. The leg's gonna go out. Alright, so that's gonna push, and that'll be kind of in front of her right now, this arm. Yeah, I can live with that. I might even bend the arm a little more. Ooh, 2! Keep them coming. I like it.
Oh, that. Yeah, the Chaos students talking about the new Onions getting an anime. It's horrendous. It does like green and blue, right? It's like
yeah, I don't know. There's so much about Animate I don't like. I try not to sound like this old man so
but it
much,
almost makes
but
you not be able to do it with a colored, like 2 colored keyframes. It's almost like you have to have a black out. It works well with the black outline. And that's
I'm just a big fan of practicality, and everything feels like window dressing to me in Adobe. Like, but they're kind of, it's not worth looking inside the window to me. Yeah, I usually look here, but oh yeah, no, stop by, join in the chat. We're happy, you know, show off your work. Do you know, this is for artists and people who want to learn a little bit about our game, and you know, we tell people to show their work all the time here. Okay, so what I'm gonna do, I'm not in love with that arm here. I don't think it's gonna look good. So I'm gonna kind of lessen that a little bit. Ooh, I like that. Yeah, so it's kind of gonna stay a little bit longer. Alright, so I might actually bend this a little bit that way too. I like it okay. Alright, let's clean this up and see when it works. You know, I've been following this a few months on Instagram tweets. It feels good to have someone else working while I am. Yeah, no, well, the thing is we're not making money during this, and we don't really keep our clients savvy to this stream. So, but right now we just finished a few projects and stuff, and it's all for the next festival. Okay, so let me clean up this. No, I'm happy to see people enjoy watching us do this. When I try to show my kids or my wife any of this, they just don't seem very engaged in it, so I was always not sure. But what I like about this Twitch, for example, is we attract a lot of artists and animators here. So there, and I always like watching people animate. It's a cool feeling. So this is going to start going down, plant the foot. And you can see what you get away with these thick brushes. It's an interesting way to work. The rough is actually thinner than the cleaned up line. I know a lot of times it's a little less. We need new clients too, so if it helps us get work, you can tell them all you want. Now it's a fine balance we try to hit, where we try to do blood certain times and client work other times. We've never really run into too much of an issue though. Our team is great that way because we have 2 programmers, 1 writer, and 2 artists. So while Bob and I might be busy with client work, you know, it will be time for Andrew and Cody to play catch up. And if everyone's busy, Greg could always write some dialogue and stuff. So we're always sort of have one hand on the wheel trying to get this video game done here. And like everything, it's just incremental progress is gonna net you a lot over a year's worth of time. And I find myself missing blood when I don't do it for it. Even when I was just doing it 2 hours a week on Twitch, I was missing it too much. Extend that way. Let's see what we could do here. All right. Make that blue so I can see what I'm doing. Yeah, but back to the Adobe Animate thing, that onion skin thing was always a real kind of... I found it more distracting than anything helpful. I forgot a line there. But again, their intentions are always good. I feel like it just... I don't know. It's a certain... When I kind of grew up in the industry with Flash MX. And I think, you know, anyone who grew up, like there's going to be people who grew up just on Adobe Animate, and whatever new version comes out, they're going to, I think they'll probably prefer the version they grew up with. So I'm trying to be aware of that. But it just felt like it was for people who like kind of studied animation a little bit more. Flash MX. Where Animate, it feels like every program's trying to get you to draw less or something, which is a weird, and you know, that's just my opinion, so they're definitely not trying to do that, but it feels like, oh look, you have a new set of motion tweens, or, you know, shape tween easier than ever, and look, you can puppet and parent and do all that stuff, which is all great, and that there's a skill to that for sure. But they're not kind of focusing on the drawing part, which, you know, I just think is so fundamental, especially in art. I like watching you animate while I draw. It makes me feel like I'm in a studio. Well, yeah, well, you kind of are. You're in our little virtual studio. We're the smallest studio you can have. We just have 2 people. So, but everything on our website, though, is every bit of art, not the writing or the stories, that's, you know, other people, but every visual thing was created by just Bob and myself, tag teaming projects together. And you'll be surprised if you kind of hold on, Fury Road has to go by. You'll be surprised what you would learn by just saying yes to jobs that you're not sure you can do. When we were offered the OKKO job to animate their cutaway scenes for the video game, you know, before we even got into it, we were going to be responsible for, I forget what he said, what it initially was, but it was in the realm of, let's say, 20 minutes of animation. It ended up being, I think, 38 minutes. That's neither here nor there. But, you know, for 2 people who, like, we were going through real stressful times, too. My wife was on bed rest with my 2nd kid. You know, there was a lot of it wasn't the best time to take on a giant project at all. And we said yes because it was a good opportunity. One, we love video games. We love OKKO. We wanted to help out Ian, and we wanted to. Ian's the creator. He graduated with Bob, I think. Oh, a year below.
Or a year or two.
We wanted to have Cartoon Network as a client, and we wanted to be part of the video game scene. So it was just one of those opportunities. We can't say no. We can't say no when we say yes and figure it out. Now, what ends up happening anyway is all production schedules get messed up. They're always going to take a little longer than they have to. So whenever a producer approaches you and says it has to be done here, it has to be done there, you can kind of the same way how a contractor will approach you to do a job, and you can just assume it's going to double the price or whatever it is. There's like a simple math to that. So if a producer says, it's due this Friday, just know it's due for the producer that Friday. The client's not going to see it till Monday. Just kind of gauge everything like that. Makes things a little easier. So we knew it was going to take a little longer, and video games in general and animation productions take their time and stuff. So we had that sort of in our, we had that in hindsight knowing that, but what ended up happening is the schedule did get pushed back, but we were responsible for more, so it did kind of expedite things too. Hold on, we missed a lot of here. I don't tell yours, you guys are SVA. We are SVA alumni. I graduated 2003. Bob was 2005. 5. Yep. Saying yes to jobs I didn't know I could do is how I got my anime. No, it is. It's a perfect way to learn, like trial by fire. I don't know what that means. Clumsy Martian. Oh, clumsy. Thank you. There's a bunch of noises happening. I feel like I'm in a casino. I'm a SCAD alumni. I looked into SCAD. That was a beautiful campus. When I looked into it, though, it didn't have animation. It had, it was cartooning, but I knew I wanted to animate, so SVA was my first choice. Plus, I knew previous alumni there, and our teacher at our high school that Bob and I went to SVA too. So we had a lot of people kind of pushing us to go there. But a guy right ahead of me at Riverhead High School, where we went to high school, an animator by Hansel Perez, he encouraged me to go there too. Let's see, that's right. When I started there, it wasn't animation. We kind of pushed them to start on. Yeah, when I was going there, I looked into it at I think 99 or 98. I was there looking at the school. It must have been 99. It was a beautiful campus. I loved the town. I probably would have had a better time there in terms of liking. I like the city and stuff, but I'm kind of a country boy a little bit. We grew up out here in the sticks. So Savannah was probably more my speed. But not having animation was something I wasn't really ready to give up yet. Alright, so that's going to work. So then we're going to pop to this. You can kind of see it happening there. So let's see here. I actually might do one. I might do that. Might extend it a little more so it just pops a little quicker. Well, in a parallel, we would have met then. Did you go there that early? Were you a 2003 alumni? They had computer art there. I remember that though. And I had to fight SVA to learn anything digital. They didn't want me to learn compositing, and boy, has that paid dividends because I still don't know how to do it. Oh wow, that's incredible. So what are you working on now, Chaos Tunes? And that I extend that question to anyone. Is anyone in New York animating? Is anyone on any projects we might know? What's nice about the digital era is there's so much opportunity for people to work in the animation field now. It doesn't have to be at one of these giant studios. And I attribute our studio to the digital age. Oh, the Christmas cartoon, yeah. Oh, yeah. I think, yeah. I'm in Brooklyn. I'm taking continue. Oh, were you at the screening last Friday? Catch a friend. I remember the Christmas thing you mentioned a while back too. Of course. We always get kind of Christmas clients around September.
No, we usually get Christmas clients around.
Well, we've also had one.
Before Christmas.
We've also had a bunch of Grinches coming in December 23rd and asking for it the 24th. Trying to work as an animator, how to start. I think the best way to start, you want to start sort of at a bigger place, in my opinion. It's just, you would learn kind of the production pipeline a little better. And the best way to do it is through internships. It's sort of the sad truth of it. You can learn the craft in school, but until you really experience the workflow of a studio, you're not going to really get the same experience. So I'd encourage an internship at a bigger studio. I had a few internships. I think second year I started trying to kind of get in places and try to learn as much as I could. Then build up your portfolio and build up your contact sheets. And what's nice about the studio atmosphere, and I find in animators in general, is whenever they move to a job, and if you worked up a nice relationship with them or you work great with them, they're going to recommend you to that other job. So, I mean, at least, didn't you find that in the early 2000s? Like,
yeah.
There was a weird time before all this digital stuff, really. There was a lot of kind of like this mixed thing. But Bob and I kind of had the same work partners, not together. I went sort of like, I did the Adult Swim route and Bob did the like Nickelodeon and younger kids route. But he would work alongside with, like, say, our friend Chris Timmons. You know, and he would work throughout, and, you know, we're still talking to Chris Timmons this day, so you kind of want to build up that relationship, and they'll just kind of, you know, take you as a team member almost. Oh, what is this? Just wrapped up on this. What is, Bob, could you click on that?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm currently working on a mini personal animation project, nothing serious, just trying to reach out and start off small, but mainly I'm building a portfolio and demo reels. Great way. Always keep your portfolio and demo reels. And I recommend making a short demo reel too. I think a lot of younger animators want to show like how much they have done, but you kind of just want to show the things you're most proud of. It's not necessarily, you know, people look at demo reels and they'll click them off real quick, so you need to keep them engaged. That's how I got the gig at PBS. A friend recommended me. Yeah, it really is all the relationships you build up. We worked for Bleacher Report, and a guy I used to animate with at Ogdenblick Studios is like one of the guys who kind of arranges the jobs there. I texted him one day. I was like, oh, you know, if you ever need our help, let us know. And, you know, within a few days, I think we had a job, and now we've built up, I think this is we're going on our second year of working with them pretty consistently. So it was just the matter of knowing this guy and having a texting him from, and it's, you know, him and I, his name's Chris Wallinger, and Chet works right next to him, actually. And, you know, we've been in the industry together for, I don't know, 17 years now, probably. So it was just as simple as reaching out through a text with him. And, you know, when we try to get new clients and stuff, we have our website and we have people we've worked with and try to get their recommendations too. I just reached out to a guy from Nickelodeon who was once at Disney. So it's all kind of, and though, you know, on their end, the producer end, they float around too, just like we do. So it's all about sort of kind of keeping a professional relationship going. And sometimes the client's not worth keeping. We've had those too. All right, so this arm is going to, now this arm right here becomes that arm. So we're going to stretch that out. Big circle here. It's all about path of action. Oh, I got a lot of, hey, I'm new here, but I've been following the project for a while. Congratulations for making such an awesome game. Thank you. We appreciate that. I'm glad, I'm glad to see people are kind of following this through. And don't be a jerk because the industry is really small. No, yeah, no, you could get a reputation of being hard to work with, and then you're getting in a lot of trouble. I just have a question. I'm used to working in Toon Boom instead of Flash, but I don't like the way the brush is there. I just want to know if the Flash, the pen pressure is better or something. I never used Toon Boom. I've seen demonstrations on it when in its earlier kind of states, so I haven't really seen it. I can't really speak to Toon Boom. I know a lot of people working in it now, and they prefer it over Flash now. It wasn't so much about the pressure sensitivity. I think it was just more that they can it's sort of like the combination of Flash and After Effects and all this kind of stuff, so I think they really enjoyed that. I never heard any complaints about the pressure sensitivity though, and I know the line work there kind of looks more like pencil, but it all depends on, I guess, the program you're using and the brush size you're using. So I do want to check out Toon Boom. I'm just curious, to be honest. I hear great things about it. It seems like it's great for really big studios and stuff. Because I know our friend, we have a few friends working on the new Looney Tunes cartoons. Boy, did those come out way better than I could have imagined. And I know that was all done in Toon Boom, but that was like an effort from, I think, 3 or 4 studios, and some work in Canada and a lot of pre-production stuff. And I know Toon Boom's a little more expensive, or a lot more expensive, I hear too.
Oh, not over a couple of years, I would assume.
No. Well, yeah. The problem with Flash is you rent it for life. I think Toon Boom you can own. Yeah, I love using Toon Boom when I have already written characters. I mean, I'm guessing I'm just like used to drawing there. Yeah, it takes a while. It took, I think, all of us when you first start a program. It's hard to draw on too. I've always like when I was first getting used to Flash, I was like, especially when Wacom's first came out, I was like, this is like drawing on glass. I'll never get used to this. Now I have a hard time drawing on paper. I'm always reaching for the undo. I think it's just something, if you're working in Toon Boom for a project, I think it's just something that practice will eventually take care of. There's quirks in every program too. There's nothing perfect out there. It's just using the tools you have in your arsenal and the program's arsenal to your advantage, I find. Because there's true blue animators out there who will never even try to draw on a computer at all. It's sort of a dying breed, but there's people doing that still. So this arm goes down, this will be up front. Let's get that here. Oh, wait, we're at the hour mark. I always kind of try to take the second half of the Twitch to open up the floor to any animation questions that, if you have a problem in your projects that you think we could try to help or talk about, or how we would approach it. So if you have any questions that aren't involved with blood or any of that kind of stuff and think we could help, I welcome everyone to ask those questions. Yeah, that's kind of fun and rubbery. I kind of like that. Just gonna move that over here. This is what I also like about Flash, is you can just kind of just move the frames around and kind of play with it that way. I think I'm gonna add one more frame though. So this is, you would be, like, for this one, I'm picturing you kind of approach the dog food bowl here, like your character will be here, and this will be the first frame that pops into it. I'm just kind of approaching it, and I want all the animation to end up here because it's the best staging for something like this. So she can land, and then you can move on, and then we have all the dog animation separate. Now, how Cody arranges this is kind of a mystery to me, but I didn't believe so. Alright, lost my timeline. And got it back. Alright, so I'm going to go back. I'm going to do one more frame here. Do a fun smear frame here, I think. This is a trick I learned in OKKO, where we're going to kind of lose the arm for this in-between. And just do kind of like a fist smear. They were doing that a lot in OKKO. I really like the way they handled that show. It feels retro but new. It really feels like something Ian, like it just feels like a show that he wanted to create, which is always nice. Like it doesn't feel like there's a whole lot of compromise from the network in there. And I know he watched interviews with him where he was mentioning like he used to work at a convenience store. He likes Dragon Ball Z. He likes comics, and I'm like, oh, this is just what he wanted to make. And it's nice to know that there are shows out there that are still letting creators do that. Okay, so we're gonna stretch that out. A little bit of a ragdoll kind of thing here. Now this arm is going to go up here. And you'll see her fist, sometimes I just make circles. Now the line of action's still in there so you can kind of see it better. We'll take that out though. Who's your favorite OKKO character? You know, I didn't watch it enough. I always liked, I wish I knew more about it. I just know a little bit from the game, but I kind of liked Drad. He always felt the most relatable to me. I liked Drad. And when we were working in it and stuff, I laughed a lot at Gar and stuff. I just, maybe it's because of my age now. And I feel like I'm yelling at my family the same way Gar yells, trying to get everyone in line. So it's probably an age thing, though. I think the richest character in there is KO, though. And that's just not after not seeing it enough either. No, I don't have enough time to watch the cartoons I want to watch. I'm watching a lot. My kids are 4 and 2, so you can imagine what kind of cartoons are floating around. Though family movie nights tonight, and we're watching How to Train Your Dragon because my oldest is super into dragons right now, and that's something I can tolerate. I actually really like that movie. But when he's watching something on like the PBS app, or somehow he gets into like YouTube Kids, it's all those cartoons. I just can't stand them for so many reasons. Mostly as an animator, I think, but I can't imagine any of those are even remotely educational. Probably doing more damage than good. Alright, is that everything? Okay, so we'll push this back. Now what we can also do, if Cody's watching, we could always just pop to this actually, I'm thinking. That might actually be better than presenting it, but like kind of start with the antic. That could look fun too. I'll do it both ways. Oh, whoa, I missed a lot here. Close the door. Ooh, where to go? I missed a bunch. What did I miss here? Well, where did I miss? Where am I here?
The way that they're talking about OKKO not
Oh.
going off of model.
Oh, yeah. No, I'm a big proponent of not going on model. I don't like model sheets at all. I think it crushes the spirit of what cartoons can be. I understand why they do it when you have to send it overseas or when you have, you know, there's a standard you have to keep for sure, but in terms of like character acting and stuff, I find it just hinders you. My least favorite part of animation, I think, is when you're told to tone it down. Now, certain cartoons obviously don't, you know, like if it's a serious cartoon, I get it, you know, but everything else, I feel like it's under the guise that, you know, like the old season 1 of The Simpsons looked crazy to me, you know, it looked so wild and stuff, but I don't know, I still knew who Homer was, I knew who Bart was, I was never, you know, the designs were off, I was never confused. It's just more interesting to look at. And you look at any old traditional cartoon, like Looney Tunes or any of that, it's, you know, nothing was on model. It didn't have to be. They, you know, kids never got enough credit for what they should be watching and stuff. Oh my gosh, I missed so much. Sorry guys, oh my god.
We were just talking about one yonder over one.
Yeah, that looked great. I love the smear frames and all those. That was like a mastery of Flash too. I feel like when you have the right designs for those kind of things, everything just works so much better. You almost design for Flash in those cases. Alright, so we got that. So we just have to get to the antic here. Then what I would do is sort of, I might puppet actually the dog bone here, or I might make it smaller, but I'm going to keep that on a separate level. Again, just because if we ever use this sprite again, like if she ever has to throw something down on the ground, I don't want the dog bone to be part of it. It'll just mean I'll have to redraw it or erase it. So we go from here. This is the I single frame this pose right here because I got this in here, which I still have to in between, but that's no fun. So what I'm going to do is ease out to this part to get her into the antic. Now again, we're going to have to kind of look at it as this hand is going to go into that hand. So we're going to keep that in mind while the other hand is going. Oops. So that eye is this eye. This is a hat, like most of the time Becky's doing stuff, she's so angry because, you know, you're usually attacking something, but this is one of those opportunities we kind of keep her happy, that she's happy to feed her dog, or the neighbor's dog in this case. One goes over here. I see that even though the frame has minor errors on the line art, you don't mind so much and you keep going. It really gives nervous when I draw and there's tiny little mistakes and I end up doing the line all over. Do you also have that kind of anxiety wanting? Yeah, I try to keep the line as clean as I can, but when I work the way we're working, this is going to be seen on the screen at this percentage. So what she's moving around, this is what you're going to see. Now all the imperfections and stuff are just not going to be caught by the human eye. And it's not about an individual, the animation's less about an individual drawing and what the line, and it's more about the motion of the line or the feeling of the drawing and stuff. So if there's little like nicks in the line work or there's like a gap in it and stuff, I'm just not gonna worry about it. And if you look at like those old Disney films, like say, like watch the Jungle Book. It's one of the most charming looking Disney films, I think, because they started using the process of it's sort of like a Xerox thing where they took like what's that?
They did use a Xerox.
They used a Xerox thing that went onto the cell, but they took the rough animation pretty much, and you know they'd clean up the rough enough to make it.
Well, I think that's when they started using the blue pencils.
Yes. Oh, so they started using blue pencils, and the blue pencil wouldn't be picked up, so whatever was graphite got picked up. And you'll see in Jungle Book, you'll see like there's Baloo's head here. This is not a good Baloo, but you'll see like the line sometimes, and it like that. So you'll see like the line of action in some of them. I think if you really have an eagle eye, you'll see the chart on the side. You'll see like this is for 24, and so it felt like everything was moving and drawing, and it was actually quite beautiful. So not that any of this is as good as Jungle Book, but that's my excuse for not drawing everything as best as I can, probably. All right, so that goes back here. This arm's going to come around. So this arm comes back here. This arm's going to come up from here, kind of rubber hose style. Yeah, it's more about the feeling of the drawing rather than the clean line work, I always find. And you have to, in context, you have to think about it as like this is just 1/24th of a second. So if people are going to really get up in arms about just that one drawing, they weren't going to enjoy it anyway. Oh, Joe Woodsy, I haven't seen you in a bit. How you doing? I imagine you've been quite busy. Doing good, just very, yeah, no, well that's good. Busy's always good. It's better than the alternative. There's some bad feelings in the art world, and when you're not busy, I find that's the most stressful to me. When you're looking for work or you're stressed out about not finding work, that's way worse than having too much work. And yeah, we've been in this for 20 years or so now, and there's times we can't, we're looking for work with the people who just got out of school, so it gets easier and it gets less frequent, but it's still there. Very stressed. Still trying to sort out college stuff. Oh yeah, how's that going? Like you got into the college, correct? Eyelashes. All right, so I'm gonna do one in between there. Got in, but now I need to find a source and support for tuition. Yeah, that's. I don't know why school's so expensive. I think the idea, though, is that they'll teach you a trade and then you can eventually pay off the student loans, though I know plenty of people who took off too much student loans than they could, than they probably should have. It's stressful, but I think once you find yourself in there, you'll figure it out. It's one of those things you just have to trial by fire too. Oh, well, thanks for. What is it? Oh, that's what this means. That's who just started. I'm still
Yeah, I
it.
want to see. Yep, that was it.
All right. You know, but I think by my 30th Twitch, I'm gonna figure out this thing. Thanks for joining us, though. Cody, I haven't heard a lot from the Peanut Gallery. Are you programming? I think we know the answer. Ooh.
Thinking about programming.
He's thinking about programming. Oh, no. Thank you so much. Yeah, it was fixing that dialogue issue. Oh. Well, la-di-da, Cody had an answer for something.
Fixing the dialogue.
I wish Cody could show these people, like, just... Cody, take, like, a screenshot or something and show them, like, the blend tree or whatever you call it. Oh, just got it working. Membership guide. Yeah, no, I'm glad. I like seeing our audience grow. All right, so we got this arm coming down. It's going to flip over, get to that. Just got it working. Nice. Yeah, those animations what did Andrew do to fix it?
Yeah, what did you do? What did you do to break it?
What's crazy about this, the way we're working, is I just finished those dialogue animations that are on Twitter now. I just finished those yesterday. In fact, when we post... I'm not 500%. We posted it right before we left last night, and I just finished those animations, and now Cody already has them in the game. So it's... What I liked about the programming part of it is we would be at MagFest and Andrew would spot a problem and he'd run up to his room, or hotel room, and he'd come back down with a build. I got super jealous. I was like, gosh, we can't do that with animation. When there's a problem, we kind of just have to let it sit. But there's all this fine-tuning involved in programming and stuff. I got Andrew on there. I love the way you guys do the dialogue. How do you choose the mouth shapes you do, or are they? Well, right now it's not lip sync, so I'll just choose what looks good against sort of the framing of her jaw.
Oh, probably not.
And I don't, unless there's, there might be cutaway scenes where we need to animate the mouths moving to actual lip sync, which will change that, of course. But right now I just try to make them kind of as rubbery and as funny looking, or whatever emotion I'm trying to go for. And sometimes I don't even really rough it out, because we try to look at the skull shape sort of as a canvas. So like her teeth are all over the place if you really examine it. What I'll do is something, I'll show you. So I'll animate everything first and lip sync last, actually. So say This is Becky's face. So what I'll do is start off with, like, if it's a happy face, I'll start off with a big kind of thing, and then I'll just kind of space it out and just try to make the funniest mouth shape you can, sort of thing. And then I'll always sort of ease into it, or ease out rather, so it just sort of snaps and pops. So then you know, I could do a mouth over here if I want it to be kind of funny and stuff, and then, you know, and I find it kind of, well, that one didn't work too great, but I'll change that one. But you get a lot more emotion out of the mouth than I always thought too. And then, you know, you can do funny smiley face up here. So I'll kind of rough it out like this all over the place after the head's animated. And then I'll sort of just roughly in between them. And, you know, then all of a sudden you have it. No, when it's lip synced, obviously I had to do a lot more kind of fine tuning than that. Is there going to be voiceover in the game? Well, yeah, I think, like, if we have, like, a cutaway scene, if we eventually animate, like, say you beat the game and there's going to be a cinematic ending, I always pictured there being dialogue, because, like, for that we can actually treat it like a standard cartoon. There's no real, you know, the sizes of the sprites don't matter, the background angle can be whatever angle now. And we do have certain cutaway scenes where we did actually have Bob do the voice of Corey. So, you know, if we're doing, like, say a 5-minute ending, like an animation ending, we would actually want to lip sync that, I would think.
We were talking about doing, but we wouldn't lip sync it, but there'd be voiceover. But we were
I find, like, with
about there being too many.
Well, like,
just all the different languages. I don't know how we would.
Yeah, the language barrier could be an issue. That's for sure. I never really thought of it that way. But and in the game, it didn't make sense too for us, because if you're reading it at your own pace or something, or you, like, have to get up and use the bathroom, you can kind of keep it. So the dialogue now, as is you press on to continue. So you can, you know, if you don't want to read it, you can breeze through it. If you want to take the time to read it slow, you can do that way. So gameplay right now, absolutely no voiceover. But we do have, like, kind of like little squeaks and little things for their voices, like, ready. Though we posted that on Indie Game Chat, and boy, did people hated those noises. So in some ways, the indie game scene can be a little like cartoons. I post stuff on, like, a Facebook chat. It's like it's called Traditional Animation, and I posted the dialogue stuff we did yesterday, and, you know, someone got all up in my grill about the grammar. It's not called animations, it's called animation. It's not double the animation. You know, like, I was like, here's some dialogue animations. And boy, did someone just rip into me. And, like, then we went onto the Indie Game Chat, and we had, what was it? Which one was it? Was it Terrell's one? Where it was just a lot of kind of, like, mousy sounding characters, and there was just, it got a lot of attention, and the majority of it positive. But the audio, there's just a tier of people just ripping it apart, calling it, you know, awful and all that stuff.
Well, just so many games do that, don't do that. I mean,
yeah, no, it was, you know, so we're going to have to figure out that part of it.
We also don't have to listen.
We don't have to listen to every negative comment either, no. But if it is something that genuinely annoys people, we have to kind of take that into account. I found it cute and charming, but, you know, it's not for everyone, I guess. So this arm goes up. And thanks, we got a bunch of new subscriptions. Thanks for stopping by. And welcome to the chat. No, I got, you know, reamed out yesterday for spelling animation wrong, or I don't know what it was. No. Pretty cool.
Not as cool as that song.
Cool as the song outside. Oh, I love it. I guess the internet's always the internet. We could probably make this quicker if we wanted to really get to the point. Gonna take away some frames. What do you think? What do you think? That guy's music's pretty good.
I don't know. Just it's a Friday. I never had just.
Well, I was just
flat
complaining
six
about
thing.
someone's our music. No, I'm complaining about his. I think that's a better timing. They're just jealous. No, I don't know. I think they were actually just upset with the sound of it. But you know, I mean, you put yourself out there that you're welcoming people to say what they feel about it, and you know, you can't take offense to it. Just people's opinions of anything. And like I said, the majority of people just were focusing on the look of the game, and that the majority of the responses were really positive. And it made us, you know, it always helps us validate why we're doing this. We're trying to make a game that looks like a cartoon. And, you know, I hope we're accomplishing that. Yeah, that guy. You should go on the traditional thing and just look.
Was it yesterday?
It was yesterday, yeah. It was like the only comment for a while. I was like, oh gosh. I won't even do a nose. So this is just going to be a circle hand again, because we're going to put the dog bone over it. I'll probably change the size of the dog bone. It looks a little big in that context. Do you see it? No, it's, you'll find it. It wasn't though. It really, I've been dreamed out way worse. All right, I like that. It's in between. So how much time do we have? Oh, we have a half hour. Plenty of time. And in between some of this stuff. Let me color it first. Get my bearings. The colors we picked for her are very specific too. Like I didn't want to spend a lot of time searching for colors, so we matched a lot of like her suit colors to her hair, and vice versa. It just makes kind of hunting and pecking for all these colors a lot quicker. Like the inside of her mouth is the same color as her hair and her cape. Her tongue's the same color as her suit. And the rest of the characters, we kind of just use it.
Yeah,
PS.
But it doesn't make sense because he doesn't know it's for a game, so it is literally
No,
it's animations
I wasn't gonna
because
get into
there's
that.
multiple animations in one.
No. Yeah, well,
It's called plural.
I hadn't the time nor desire to explain that to him, so I let him have his win. And she's always sticks up. Yes. No. Her colors are not mimicked anywhere else too. Like when I go back and look at old school games and they only had a limited color palette, I find a lot of we try to do every project with a limited color palette. It's a lot kind of easier. It like takes some of the guesswork out. And you'll try stuff that you wouldn't normally try too. So I always recommend just grab like start low. Start with like 7 colors or 6 colors and try to do a short like that. I think you'll be surprised what you kind of explore with and stuff, and it'll be a lot of fun. There's like like shirt colors in this game now I would have never picked before, but because we only have a certain amount of colors for the characters, I'm forced to. And like I'm starting to play with color combinations that I really like now. And now I can't picture them looking any other way. Let me start in betweening this one. Get this ready for Cody. Yeah, that feels about right. I could probably speed it up. I'm trying to think if you're playing the game, you probably want it to happen quick. Put it on all on ones. That might work. Let's just try it all on ones. Let's see how bad that looks. Yeah, better the other way. Yeah, I think I'm going to keep it on ones. Let's do it. All right, so these in between.
The plural of animations can also be animations in reference to various types of animations or a collection of animations. There you go.
Much easier. Much easier and smoother. That's why Mega Man is blue, because the NSA is blue. Oh, really? Is that why it's blue? That's cool. The way they made like the Nintendo games is so fascinating to me. Like I don't know how anyone could have done that with the technology that was out. It was just a brilliant mind that could do that. And like you can play Super Mario, the first Super Mario, when it's like it has its flaws for sure, but there's so little bugs in it. It works 35 years later. The story is a little weird, but you know, I'm not. You can't hold them accountable for that. It's just incredible what people were just doing on computers that couldn't run one app now. And I was always fascinated to hear like how much memory those cartridges held, and it was comically low. The art in this game is oh, thanks so much, Lone Wolf. I appreciate that. I love how it looks. She's growing up. Oh, she changes proportions in this so many times. I had to bring in her idle animation just to remind myself of how small she actually is on the screen. But when I do any animations like this, she's twice the size. Oh, well, thank you. We're going to need a lot of luck. Plumber saving for what's weird about that? Yeah, what is? I mean, the live action version did so well in theaters. I guess I'm the fool. Boy, did that movie. There was a didn't we watch a little documentary on the making of Mario Brothers?
Oh, yeah,
they had like
drunk and Bob Hoskins broke his hand or something.
Bob Hoskins broke his hand.
The door closed on them because they were drunk driving around the set.
And weren't they supposed to have Tom Hanks as Luigi or something, or am I making that up? Anyway, it was a funny.
It was something like that.
No, did they really miss the mark on that? They couldn't pick the worst thing. Well, if you're in where is Too Many Games? This is for Philadelphia. We're going to be at Too Many Games. You can actually play. You'll actually see this part in the game if Cody gets his act together. Is that Cody telling me stuff?
Trying to do something with that poster that I knew couldn't happen.
What did?
Make it smaller.
Oh, okay. Not everything's great. And, you know, eventually when we get the demo in a spot that we're all proud of, I can't imagine us not releasing a limited version of it for people to play. And I think that's the idea.
Probably not.
Have people play this eventually, right? I think people should play this eventually. Oh boy. It just feels so far from done too. There's so much more we have to do. Like the school's just one level when we're still kind of toiling around with it. We have like a world map somewhat created. Got an intro started. Or a start screen started. We don't have the intro. We have cutaway scenes that aren't in the game yet that are finished. And a lot more characters to sort of turn into vampires and all that stuff. A lot more villains we have to make. I have a few ideas for those, and once the team gets together, we get to talk in person about it next week. We have 3 days to figure that out. Top-down kind of games were never really my cup of tea, but I'll definitely make it. Well, that's we want to convert you. We want you to like these top-down games. It's gonna if we accomplish what we're trying to do, it should feel like you're playing kind of a late '90s to early 2000s Cartoon Network show. And yeah, we're putting in the hours, so hopefully you'll enjoy it. Works for me, and then she'll kind of float down to that last one. Let's change that color there. For me, I love those top-down games. I think Link to the Past was a masterpiece. That was like at the height of when I got to play the most video games in my life and stuff, and I always liked medieval kind of stuff like that. I was a big Dungeons and Dragons kid, so getting to play that, and I got to revisit it a lot in my life too, and it always held up. I think the Zelda franchise, I think, is one of the most flawless sort of pieces of art out there. What they managed to accomplish, like they could go cartoony with Link and like the Wind Waker version of it, and
Tracy, you're a big Samurai fan.
Yeah, no, I've been accused of that too. I don't. There's no evidence to prove that, but. I think I can in between this one with no roughs. Could be making a fool of myself pretty soon. Alright. It's the beauty of this thick line. You could really get away with these in-betweens. You got some more. Is that the girls' locker?
I was looking at our other one, it's so tiny.
Yeah, no. Oh, well, then I was putting characters next to the lockers, and I was like, this character looks huge next to the locker because Becky's so small. No, it made me like I had to resize a few of them. I got our next shadow.
Yeah.
You could, yeah, with no holding lines, you could do that too. How do you feel about the new Link's Awakening? I mean, I would love to play it. I think it looks really, I think for a 3D adaptation of it, it looks fantastic. Like, 2D or 3D never bothered me with Zelda. I'm not a giant fan of 3D games, though I guess my favorite games are 3D now, but I never liked them just because of them being 3D. You know, like, it was never like the graphics of like like those modern warfare games. So, yeah, I can't argue that the graphics are amazing, but it just never really did much for me. I always kind of liked the cartoonier stuff. I love pixel art, like all that kind of stuff. Did he figure it out?
No.
No. It's just that poster.
Yeah.
All right. I could do the arm. Let me do the arm real quick, then the cape I don't need to really worry about yet. And this is going to be double the size, so this is what it'll look like on the screen. And you can kind of see all those flaws sort of melt into nothingness when you shrink everything down so small. I wish, like, for regular animations, I could work with that brush, like this brush. It would take forever though, and we'd have to zoom into such high amounts. But I find a lot more control with the thicker brush here. Most of our animations we try to keep around brush 4 or 5, and we zoom in around 400 or 500%. But then you see everything at 100% technically, so the flaws are a little more amplified. Alright. Color this. So from here, we have to just get to there, right there. So she lands, and this is, what I did was take an old sprite, I duplicated the symbol so everything's registered, then I brought this one in. So whatever Cody does to export these as a sprite, when we land on this, everything should be registered again, and you should be able to take control of her as soon as she lands. But this is sort of a call to action, so she'll, I don't think you'll be able to move after you press this button until we decide to land. So it almost benefits us to be quicker, I think. So I might actually start with, like, this will be the first frame of the animation, so right when you hit the button, you cut into this, and then we'll just have to figure out how to get to that. Though I do want to finish this part just because this will be a good sprite for us to have when she lifts something up. I'll do that separate. So I'm going to have her drop a lot quicker here. See how that looks. Try doing that a frame before. How do you feel? Oh, someone already. I already read that.
About samurais.
Samurais. Alright, so this will be an ease out. Can make this quick. So her cloak kind of gets like thrown back over her. So I do the blinks right when she hits the ground. That way we can get kind of a smear frame with her eyes. So it's not technically like just a regular in between, like where I'm starting to close the eyes here. The next few frames we can worry about that, but in terms of the smear, it's always kind of nice. So her arms sort of kind of get captured and they grow a lot smaller when you do stuff like this. This one can roll back up here, like it's going to go behind her head. Her legs are going to start going down like this. And the cape is going to start slowly going over everything. Just a little bit of animation cheats there. Now if I was worried about her proportions, this would be such a mess. One day I'm going to count how many drawings we've done of Becky.
Take a day.
That'll take it. Get an intern here for that. Also, going back to the a while ago, someone asked me how to get into the industry. I find most internships, it's not. It really is you're part of the process. It's not like go fetch everyone lunch. There's elements of that, and you will be doing some of that gopher kind of work. But a lot of it is sort of, at least the places I've been, and this, I can only speak for New York in this case, but I found they put you right to work. Like whether it's coloring the characters, in-betweening, all that stuff, and you learn pretty quick. Yeah, that works. Now, if you're in New York, I always kind of sing Augenblick Studios' praises. I always admired how he approached the production pipeline. I worked there for 7 years. Made a lot of good friends there. Worked on a lot of cool projects. But how he sort of wrangled up the interns and kind of made them like the junior animators, I always was really impressed with how he turned someone trying to learn something into part of the project while keeping them informed and learning. And it was up to the senior animators to sort of coach them up. So you were actually learning a lot while you were helping out and getting school credit. There's just a mutually beneficial experience for everyone, I found. And I think that, the same goes for Titmouse, though I've never worked there.
Do you want an intern? Catch up fast?
We're such a small studio, and we're out in like the sticks here. We're like, no joke, we're probably 2.5 hours away from the city on when the traffic's good. So we've had interns before during the summer when we were busy with OKKO and all that stuff. But since we're such a small studio, we've never really had the chance to teach the interns properly. So we usually turn down internships unless we're really in desperate need of it. And right now, we honestly don't really need them. But I always appreciate when people find an interest in our studio and want to learn from us and stuff. And that's why, anyone who wants to take the opportunity in the Twitch to learn something that might not be about blood, and if you're just starting and have questions, I would happily lend our advice there. But when it was at Augenblick Studios, I was one of the lead animators there, so I did a lot of helping out the interns or showing them the ropes and stuff. It was a full-time job doing just that. Plus there was 30 other people getting the production done. So if we had to teach interns while we were doing stuff, I just feel like it would not be fair for the interns. All right, I like that. It's not to say if we don't expand that we wouldn't need it and stuff. And Bob and I always had an affinity for helping and teaching and stuff, and we always said, on weekends, if things are slow, what about kind of getting a bunch of computers here and offering some classes and stuff. I guess luckily or unluckily, the way you look at it, we've never been that slow that we needed to offer that yet. But it's never off the table. Get it working yet?
No.
Nope. What is it? Just the size thing? Yeah.
It is impossible. It's
impossible.
one of those impossible things.
Is it just because it's vector art?
No, it's not vector art.
Oh, you're doing Photoshop. Does Photoshop just not get that big?
It just doesn't get that small.
That's small.
It's a 4.5. It's 4 by 8 feet long. I don't know how you would make an image
What, you'd need to make it smaller or bigger?
smaller. We need to make.
What?
You can't make it smaller. It's impossible. It's just not possible.
Because it has to be a certain DPI?
Yeah.
And this is the same company that we did the other thing for?
Yeah. I feel like we did get it.
Yeah. Well, it's a different proportion now. Maybe that's the issue. Alright, so the eyes can start closing here. Push that hair back there. We're trying to work on a poster for the festival. Or, not a poster, what is it?
I mean, I guess it's a banner.
At that time, but I recently made a test to enter a studio here in Brazil, but I didn't pass. I had the animation in one day. Yeah, if you want, do you want to show it in? You're more than willing to show. If you're willing to show it here in the feed, we're happy to show it. Or if you're more uncomfortable with that and just want to send it to one of our emails, you could do that. You want to send them my email? It's up to you. This is a very welcoming crowd, so, but if, I understand people don't want to show their stuff too. You could send it at my email. Bob's going to type it in for you. But if you have a link to it, I'm always happy to look at other people's animation. Always inspires me. What company in Brazil? Such a global industry now. I love it. Oh, it's better by you. It's up to you. I know some people are uncomfortable showing their stuff. We're always happy to take a look at it. But if it's all the same to you and you want to show it here, I'm sure everyone here would like to see it too. But like I said, that's if you're uncomfortable with it, then you can just send it by email. Oh, and if it's a Google Drive, I don't know if you can even do that here.
Let's see. Here.
Yeah, send it. No, please send it on. That looks really nice to me. Did they give you any feedback? Is this a show that already exists? Like that we can see like a cross reference to? Well, it could be a lot of things. You know, they could have been fully staffed up by the time you got the test. It could be. I don't know what the original show looks like, and I don't know if they gave you any reference for the show. But you know, from what I could tell, it's something that looks like, especially for a test, I feel like that's great.
They just said it didn't pass for the next.
They gave the rigging cat. What is it? Is there like a YouTube link to what the show is supposed to look like then? Oh, good. Yeah, it's hard to say if what they could have really be hung up on, and I mean, it could be as simple as they're fully staffed too, like that. People send out tests and stuff, and they'll have people that they already want to hire. And sometimes companies are forced to just send out tests, so it's diplomatic. I don't know if they have that cat anywhere. It's really hard to gauge unless there is reference to what the show is. I mean, sometimes when I do some like tween stuff, I'll shoot some of it on twos just to make it look a little less tweeny. But if that's what the show is if that's what the show calls for. Anyone taking a test, like I always find with those tests, you want to do exactly what the show looks like. A lot of people go overboard with some of the animation and stuff, make it like doing an antic that wouldn't show up and stuff. I think they kind of want to see, you know, because you'll be working among a team where they're just going to hand you a scene and they just want it to look like almost like just one person did everything. So if there's an example of what the rest of the series looks like, or the web series, or whatever it is, and you want to send that here, then you know, I'm sure there's pointers we could point you in the right direction. They made this. Yeah, from what I can tell, they're shooting a lot of this on twos. Well, that part's on twos.
That's just the opening.
Is that the opening? Yeah, it looks like they're doing a lot of this stuff, like especially with the lip sync, they're doing it on twos and threes. So, you know, if you want to go back into your test and like say they're all tweened and stuff, and kind of keyframe them out or shoot some of it on twos and stuff, and see if you can kind of match some of their timing. Like that's like. It really is. It looks pretty similar though. Yeah, I don't know. No,
I wouldn't know what to say to that one really.
Yeah, I don't know, because that looks pretty close to what they have on that YouTube one. It does look great. I mean, would this be your first gig in the industry? Let's get that on frame 1. Okay, so now I just have in between that. We have to do one more. Yeah, I wish I had better advice, but that looked pretty close. I think you might have removed his neck too much in the test compared to the example. Yeah, from what I could tell,
It does seem, well, that shows seems stiff.
seems a little stiffer, but I think an alleviation for that could be shooting it on twos too. Just gonna slow that down a little. Alright. Let me get to this. Oh, we're coming to a close here. You think that was? No, I think the test came out great. I would. Did they just said he didn't pass though? That's the only thing. Yeah, I wish people would, like in those things, a little, critique on what you could have done different might have helped. But I would never look at any test as like as anything but that. It's just not the job. It's just the job. Or in most of these cases, I honestly think they're already fully staffed up by the time they hand out some of these tests too. And you have to figure how many people are going for that job and all that stuff. So it's not really an indictment on anything you've done wrong either. I remember, when Venture Brothers was starting up, everyone at SVA, I mean, this is years ago, everyone at SVA took a test, then they only needed, a very small percentage of people. And, and they had seasoned animators in there too, so it was students, seasoned animators and stuff. So not a lot of people got it, and I know people just kept taking the test after they were already started working on it. So there's a lot of that kind of in the industry. I guess the problem was I don't making new mouse and hands. Oh, they wanted new elements and stuff. Yeah, I mean it's hard to say. It really is hard to say what people want to. Did you deal with anybody in person, or was this all through email too? Because that's another problem you find. And another kind of silver lining thing is you're on their radar now too. So if they do need or land another project, you'll probably be first on their mailing list and all that stuff. But I really, from what I could tell, I don't see a big disparity in what I saw from that YouTube link and what you provided. Let's see here. So we're almost done for the day. We're going a little over, but I just want to finish this up. I don't want to cut anyone off mid-conversation. Let's see. We could get to the promotional part, though, where we're talking about Too Many Games. That's our next big thing this Friday. I hope to see some of you there, getting to talk to some of the people who made it out to Animation Anarchy that met us on the Twitch and stuff. That was really special for the whole team involved. Cody made it all the way up from Florida to be part of that, and he's doing the same thing this Thursday coming up to Philly. We're gonna have the whole team there. It's gonna be a lot of fun. 3 days worth. We'll get our indie game fix, I'm sure. Let's see, Instagram, we're on that. We're on Facebook. We're on Twitch. You can tell some friends, that'd be great. And let's see, so next week we're going to do a Thursday Twitch. Just keep that in mind because we'll be gone Friday, we'll be traveling. And we're going to just keep showing you more and more Blood stuff. If you guys keep joining us, we'll keep doing this. So we appreciate all the nice comments and everyone joining the conversation in. And it doesn't always have to be about Blood. We're thinking about doing some Twitches where we're going to show you some other animation processes we're going to do. Maybe we'll do some special Thursday ones where I can do the character animation, then Friday Bob hops on, does the After Effects, so you can see everything from soup to nuts. And let's see, anything else, Bob?
We'll post on social where our booth is going to be.
Yeah, we'll let everyone know where the booth is for Too Many Games. We'll show the new poster. We're going to show elements of the new demo. And we're gonna actually probably have a video like coming soon of all the new backgrounds Bob's been doing too. We're thinking about making a video of that. I won't make it next week. This week, this one. Oh well, thanks. Well, yeah. Let us know. Keep commenting. Keep chiming in, and we'll be here to answer any questions. And thank you all for joining us. We'll see you next Thursday, and some of you on Friday, I hope. All right. Take care, everyone, and enjoy the weekend.